All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we've got an update on Errol Spence Jr. and word around what's going on in his training for the Terrence Crawford rematch. Derrick James has spoken out, so now we've got the answer to our question. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be in the 147-pound division where we are going to bring to closure a conversation that has been going on for the last month or so, because we now have it straight from the horse's mouth. And also, we're going to talk about what it means. And also, I'm sticking by what I said, that I think some things could help Errol Spence Jr. in his preparations with Terrence Crawford. But before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really does mean a gigantic amount to the channel. Again, Matty O, you the man. Shout out to you. Shout out to Kamal Oz. Haven't seen you in a while, brother, but I hope you're doing well. But let's get into this. Barbara D, everybody else, John Bowie, hope you're doing well. Let's get into this because we have a rematch that should be coming up. I don't think it's going to be by the end of the year, honestly. I don't think it's going to be the end of the year. Steven Espinoza talked about the fights that he had that they see coming up and were scheduled for the rest of the year. And he did not mention the Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. rematch. So I just think that more than likely is going to get pushed to next year. However, there have been conversations about what Errol Spence Jr. was going to do. It had been confirmed that the rematch clause was going to be executed, and Derrick James was interviewed after the press conference for the Jermell Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez fight that takes place this weekend. Really big fight, undisputed versus undisputed. Jermell Charlo being the undisputed champion at 154 pounds, and Canelo Alvarez being the undisputed champion at 168 pounds. Derrick James is the trainer for Jermell Charlo, and he was asked, what's going on with Errol Spence and the rumor that you guys are going to part ways. That's what the rumor was, that Errol was disgruntled with Derrick James, and that Errol Spence Jr. was going to hire another trainer or bring in another trainer for the Terrence Crawford rematch, which I think would be a very, very bad move, because, you do not want to start, especially after a situation like that. You don't need to start with everything new. And so Derrick James put that to bed, said, look, man, when I read about it or I heard about it, Errol Spence was actually at my house, and we were talking at my house when I heard that. So that is 100% not true. And anybody that would have thought that, obviously doesn't know me. But I think what he meant was doesn't know me and the relationship that I have with Errol Spence. And that was kind of my take on it. Now, I do know for sure that there was some frustration around people that were around them. I can't speak on them, Errol Spence himself and Derrick James. All I know is that at the end of the day, it was going to be up to Errol Spence what he wanted to do. And I'm sure that there were people that were close, that were in Errol's ear, that were suggesting that he make a change to him. But at the end of the day, Errol's a very consistent, at least the way that I see him, is a very consistent person. Derrick James and him have had a relationship where they've had the relationship their entire, as long as they've been boxing. And it seems to be a friendship. Friendship at a certain level. I can't say that I know it's a very professional relationship. However, you get my point. So Derrick James said, no, that's not true. He was also talking about, was asked several questions about what weight class the fight was going to take place in. He said that he kept answering, look, man, I don't know. I haven't read the contract. That's all I'm going to say. It does appear that Errol, just from what he said and what he thought without having read the contract and not being on that side of the business, that it's not up to Errol what weight class is going to be. But whatever weight class is going to be is the fight that Errol Spence is going to take the fight at. But that was all about that he gave all of the information that he gave. My personal opinion on it is that it would I don't think that it could hurt to have Juan Guzman work with the camp and have an extra pair of eyes on it, an extra brain looking to solve the problem. I don't think that would be an issue at all. And I don't really think that would be an issue with Derrick James, seeing as Derrick James was willing to do that for Jermell Charlo. And Jermell Charlo most definitely benefited from having Juan Guzman, in the camp with him. But at the end of the day, that's going to be, I think, well, first of all, let me say this. I have 100% faith that Derrick James is a very, very competent trainer. Errol Spence Jr. got that far in his life with Derrick James, and Derrick James is not just a guy that has helped one fighter do well. He's also helped other fighters do well. Specifically, we'll see what takes place on September 30th with Canelo Alvarez. But prior to that, there was difficulties that Jermell Charlo had faced in his original fight that he lost on the scorecards. Well, in actuality, since it's on the scorecards, that he had lost to Tony Harrison, and he came back and he beat Tony Harrison. He beat Tony Harrison by knockout. The next fight was Brian Castano, where Jermell Charlo, really was down in the first half of the fight as far as I was looking at it. And then he listened to Derrick James' advice. He stepped on the gas and he pushed it to a draw. So that was, Derrick James helping him and advising him on what to do and doing so correctly. And then when it became a draw and they rematched it, Derrick James had a game plan and Jermell Charlo executed, and he became the undisputed champion. I've also seen Derrick James in the corner with Frank Martin, where Frank Martin looked like I don't think he was ever behind in the fight personally in his last fight. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was, I think he was like an Armenian. He might have been an Armenian Armenian by way of Russia, but he was an Olympic, an Olympian. I think he was an Olympic medalist. And then Derrick James gave Frank Martin the instruction to step forward and go and take the fight. Do you want to look pretty or do you want to win the fight? So Frank Martin started doing what he needed to do, and both parties came together and boom, he solved the problem they were having and he won the fight. So if it's possible for Errol Spence Jr. to do the same thing with Terrence Crawford, because if he's physically together and all of the above, hey, man, it could very well happen again. But I don't think that there's some magic sauce that can come in from just grabbing this trainer or that trainer, right? There's something that Teddy Atlas had said about Joe Joyce and how, he had wished he had Joe Joyce, and Joe Joyce would have been a world champion with him. Yeah, maybe. And then again, maybe not. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Derrick James is going to stay with Errol Spence Jr., and I think that is very good news for Errol. I think that's a good decision from what I can see. And, it is what it is. We'll see how the rematch turns out. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out.